So your name is,
PJ Sveda.
and you're an artist, one of 6 that are in this show called Trepidation.
Yes.
And it is an honor to have you in our gallery because you have been burning up the galleries here in town and you are
Thank you.
creating a huge buzz around you. It really is an honor for you to be in here. And I think you have 4 paintings in here.
I do.
Right? Now my favorite is, I know I'm not supposed to say that, I'm not
That's okay,
supposed to
that's
have favorites, but it is a picture called Dominion.
Yeah.
And it is a picture that I just told you what one of the people who live here saw, and she saw, we're not gonna say what she said, but you were actually a little shocked at what she saw. Now, he's gonna flash a picture of Dominion as we talk. Tell us about that painting.
Okay, so that painting is based on the kidnapped girls in Nigeria who were kidnapped by a radical Islam group called the Boko Haram. The girls have been missing for years. Some of them have been returned, but there's a big movement of people trying to get their children back. And so what inspired me was the concept of predator and prey, and how in the animal kingdom, the predator will pick out the weak or the young because it's easiest. Whereas humanity is different because we tend to use violence as a weapon based on ego. And so the painting is all about seeing this young girl who is the victim of an adult conflict. And the cheetahs in her eyes represent the predator, and the gazelle horns represent a young, very vulnerable animal who's about to be, eaten.
Now, the gazelle horns, it's interesting, people don't see them. Have you noticed that people, it has to be pointed out to them.
Right.
And when they see the horns, sometimes like with the lady that lives here who saw, they get a completely different idea. Were you even aware that some people were getting that dark of an idea when they saw that painting?
Well, at first, when I painted them, they were too big and they looked kind of evil, so I had to bring them back more, and I had to do a lot of research onto what a very young gazelle looked like, and they just start to form, so that's where I wanted to get that.
How does your work relate to the current political situation without getting into names and stuff?
Okay, so that particular painting I think is really hopeful because the tick birds represent a symbiotic relationship between species. So tick birds will pick off the bugs and help with the larger animal, and the larger animal provides a source of food for the tick bird. So they have nothing in common other than the fact that they use each other and they coexist harmoniously. So my hope for that painting is the silver lining is to come out and say, hey, even though we're different, even though we don't agree, there are things that we could benefit from one another. And at the end of the day, even if it's just raising our children in a peaceful setting, I think we can all agree that we just want a peaceful setting for our kids.
I agree. Would you call yourself an activist?
100%.
Artist?
I have
High
PETA
five.
tattoo.
What are the things that you are passionate about?
100%.
I love this.
100%. I am an animal activist, environmental activist.
To the point of not wearing leather and stuff?
Correct. Like, I will stand outside with signs in freezing cold, all that.
I'm wearing leather. They're my father's shoes.
But the message is to do as least harm as you can, and you can't fight hatred with hatred. So I don't hate people. It's more of like the light has to go off and people have to come to their own conclusions organically. And so I'm not an aggressive person. So I'll answer questions, and if people come to their choices and their rationale on their own, that's great. But I'm not going to hate people for what they do. I'm just going to stand by my own convictions.
I think that's the only way to do this.
Right.
I also am an activist for artists. I try to balance the gender inequality in the arts.
I have friends that are black artists, and they don't want to be called the black artist. So
Right.
I'm a woman artist. I don't want to be called the woman artist. It's like I just want to be
But there is an
artist.
inequality. If you look at the Guerrilla Girls in New York, there is a revolution going. You know?
Right, but
There
it
is-
also becomes like we don't want. I don't think anybody wants like any favors. We want to be recognized for just being good.
but there is an imbalance. And
100%.
even in my gallery, I show more men than women, and I think I'm the one gallery that actually sits down and says, "Oh my God, how many women versus how many men?" You know?
100%. It is. It's huge. Art history, museums, galleries. But I think I don't take offense to it when you say I show women artists. But I think
or help women.
right. I don't take offense to that. But just to kind of understand why someone might, it's just because it's like, well, I just want to be the artist. I don't want that prefix to label me. You know.
From everything that I've learned, you can't just be an artist anymore.
Right.
You have to be an artist activist. Your art has to be being created for a reason. So you're the type of artist that I know you're going to conquer. You're going to conquer. You're on the right side of history.
Yeah.
I know you are. So any advice for a young artist that is looking and thinking, okay, how did you get this far? How did you do this? How did you get to this point? Because you are here.
Well, there's tiers of artists. You can paint for pleasure, for profit, or prestige. And I've stayed true to my guns. I paint for pleasure, and I am like a bleeding, empathetic heart, and it's therapy for me. I have to get it out. I'm not very confrontational, so I mean, I will if provoked, but I'm not one to go up and wave my finger in front of people. So I do it through my art, and it's a way for people to sit with the painting and kind of come to their own story and think about things. And that's why I put a lot of hidden messages, so it's not a pass by. It's like
Say that again.
That's why I put a lot of hidden messages, so that people don't pass by, they sit with it. There's a concept of lure them with beauty and hold them with intellect. The longer you can hold them, the more you'll get inside that person.
Dr. Carmen McGinnis and I loved talking about your art.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. It was like a book, page after page after page. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Yay, all right. Bye.